Welcome to Video Day Project of the Week. We've got this new table in today and we're going to repair it. It's got a lot of stripped screws, some veneer repair that needs to be done to it. I had to unscrew all the screws. There we go. Wow. Well, no wonder this thing is falling apart. Oh man, let me put this down. Look at this disaster. Someone was filling the holes in with some kind of, I don't know, filler putty kind of stuff and hoping that would get hard enough to thread. And they made a mess of it. So there's not even hardly any threads. You can look in that hole. There's barely any threads left in there. So I got to clean all this up, rethread every single one of these holes, which I'm glad I took that thing completely off because now we can fix it properly. So the way I think I'm going to handle this situation here is I've got to redowel all these holes where the screws go into the bottom of the table. So I'm going to fix 3 of the holes, screw this thing back down. Then the other holes I'm going to mark with the existing screws, take this back off so all the screws line up and it will be exactly where it was before I took it off. If I just drill them now, I'm not going to get it exactly where, you know, exactly where it goes. If I just redo the dowels, this way it won't happen. So I'm going to do 3 of them, screw it down, mark it, take it off, re-drill, then that's all this will be fixed down up underneath here. So I was moving this stuff around. I found this little strip with a metal in it and I knew what it was. It keeps the screws in and it's not a good way to fix it, but you see the piece in there? It's got little ridges on it. And that sticks into the side of the wood and that keeps this from coming out. However, it doesn't need to be on this part, it needs to be on the hole underneath. So this thing was kind of sort of fixed right and kind of sort of not fixed right. And this is wobbly around. Maybe it was right when it was put in, who knows. So we'll have to fix. This thing's been repaired at least one time and not correctly. So we're going to do it right. Just, you know, people spend their time and not rush. They can get it done properly. Here's one. You see down in there where the screw would go in, right? But this doesn't need a bite on that. I mean, it's not bad to keep it from wallowing out that hole. That's the only thing that's good for. It's not good for keeping the screw in. So that just, you know, I don't understand. I don't like those things. Now what we're going to do is we're going to line this back up to the holes that it came out of and screw it back down the best we can with the raggedy holes that were in there, and that way it'll be lined up perfectly to mark the dowels that we just put in. There we go. Let's see what we got. Now we know exactly where to drill our pilot holes into these dowels. So when once that's drilled in, we can fix these other ones, use these holes to screw it down with, mark the other ones to take it off, pilot hole drill those, and then all those holes will be fixed. That's how to handle that deal. And then we'll move on to the slides with the dovetails on here, the sliding dovetails. We'll fix all that. Let's get this done first. So I did the other ones. Now I'm going to screw this thing back down, and we're going to line it up like it was. And we're going to line it up like it was. And nice one. Okay, so I'm going to do these tight in here. Push these down. And everything's marked where it's supposed to be, where it's supposed to go. So we're set. This one makes it tight before I commit. Wow. Yeah, that's not tight. And it's stripped. Okay, well, another thing that's got to be fixed is these holes underneath here are stripped for this part here. And if we can get this out. So this has to be redoweled. These are the screw holes are obviously stripped going in there. So I'm going to redowel this real quick. Same thing as I did with this, just a rinse and repeat kind of thing. So, and I'll probably have to redowel with this where it goes into there. Okay, I've redoweled and drilled my pilot holes, planed it down smooth, and I think everything's going to go together just fine. And one of the problems we were having is that this this part wasn't seated all the way down because the nut on the other side, this wasn't adjusted properly. So I'm going to adjust this so make sure that when I tighten it from the other side, it doesn't pull this off and pull it through. I think that's why those other ones stripped out. We just got to make sure that we put this at the right angle and do it properly, and we'll get that adjusted. Nice, fresh, brand new threads for these screws and those dowels. This should work out just perfect. So now this whole piece is going to be solid again, and it's been a long time waiting for that. I'm sure it's been broken for a long time. Like I said before, you can see some of the repairs that were done on this before. There's one major one on this side. Okay, I think I've got this nut adjusted exactly right on this side so it doesn't pull the bottom of this thing out. And this is the back side of it, and get this positioned where it was originally. It's sunken into the to the wood, and we will give a little bit of gentle tightening pressure to this. It should tighten down just fine. Now you can see there's no movement in here, no light. Now the whole thing it's not screwed down yet, but we had a serious problem with all this in here. So it's redoweled, everything's tight, readjusted this nut, it's not pulling this up anymore. Everything is fine now. The only other thing that we need to address here is this bracket. Someone made this bracket and they pulled this off to the side and they screwed it here. It's causing tension and it's hitting the side of this hole over here. It should be up and level and flat like this, where this bar goes through the middle of the hole through the mechanism on the back side. So this bracket's going to have to be remade and moved over into the proper spot. I don't know why someone did it that way. I mean, it's right, but it's not up and moved over high enough. Also in the back side, see, it comes through here. These screws are loose, this mechanism loose. So we'll see if this tightens, it'll be great. If not, I'll have to take all this apart, redowel it, and put it back together properly. But this is causing tension because the other side isn't put on properly. And then of course we'll fix this on this side. Now we have to deal with this situation. So you can obviously see when this was here and in the hole that they had it in, it's rubbing up against there. So we're going to go ahead and fix this. This is not necessary for this thing to function, but I just can't have my name on something going out like this, so I'm going to fix it anyway. So we'll make sure that this hole is lined up exactly going this way and how far back and over it is, and we'll lift it up and we'll make another bracket that fits here. And you know, find me a piece of oak or mahogany laying around here. I might even I don't know if I might even have pecan, just whatever I've got, some kind of stock, big stock. I'll fabricate some kind of bracket for this right here to make it look decent. Let's do that right now. Alright, so we should have two surfaces that are 90 degrees right here. We're going to take this over the table saw, go ahead and square this up a little bit and see if we can use most of this larger piece for the bracket for the table. Hopefully this piece will be big enough. Let's find out. If we put this piece down, cut that out, we've got to have a pretty tall piece. This might just cut it. So let's go ahead and square this up on the table saw, and then hopefully this will be high enough to mount that. Alright, so it looks like this is high enough, so I can't cut it down any thinner than this. Now let's go ahead and trim this up. Okay, that is perfect. It's right in the center of the hole back here, so we need to take this off. Let's see how it's going to work out. Okay, so maybe something like that. Something like that actually looks pretty good. Okay, so what I'm going to do, like I forgot to, but that's okay, we can just do it right now. I'm going to make sure that we keep the center of this hole right here aligned. So I'm going to have to mark that. It looks like I can keep the center of this hole with the off this square. I just went underneath it, kind of followed the line. Now the center of the hole should remain the same. It's the same distance back. All I did was move the hole straight over that way. So I'll transfer that mark up to the top of this. If I put that just right on the edge, actually right there, we'll transfer that mark, transfer this mark to the top. Okay, let's draw some kind of design. I'm going to use these same screws, so it looks like I'll have to keep sort of the depth of this, you know, how far it goes down, which is fine because I'll have to cut a lot of this off. So let me see what we can, just some kind of simple curve that goes to the top. Our screw hole needs to be here. We need a little bit left on the side. So if we go in, let me see if we go maybe like this. We need to come out maybe to like but we'll make that go straight. So we'll curve it to here and then go straight up after that. So it'll be a big curve, straight, screw goes here, and then we'll make this a gentle curve, some kind of cool thing like this. Let's put, so something like a little bit curvier. There's our bracket. I need to find the middle so I can drill my hole for my screw, and we'll just do that with a marking gauge, and it already looks like it's already set up. So halfway between, if it goes here and here and it meets halfway, that's the middle, but it's almost there. But I can just put my, so that'll be the middle. So we're going to drill down, we're going to drill all the way through this side, and then we'll taper this up at the front. And I think we'll probably have to do the same thing with this side. Find the middle, and then we'll drill through the bottom just to get, so it'll be easier to find the hole on the top. So we'll make this hole like somewhere in here, drill there and drill there, and well, we should be good. I've already doweled this. It was stripped out. That crack is in there. I think that'll be fine. There's not going to be really stress on this. I think it'll be fine. So I'm just going to, I've already marked it like I said. I'm just going to drill my pilots. And going to see how it fits in there, just going to set it in there and put a couple threads on there. And see what happens. Just kind of get an idea. Okay. That's beautiful. That's way better. That's 1,000 times better than it was before. Okay, now we've got everything tight and straight. You can see the shaft doesn't hit that hole anymore. It's a real smooth action. It doesn't put any torque on this like the other bracket did. You can see it moves smoothly in the rear. No binding anywhere like it was before. So it works really, really well. I've tightened all these down. So this pedestal is now secure and strong. It doesn't move, it doesn't wiggle. Remember at the beginning it was all flopping around. Super tight. Every single hole is redoweled, rethreaded. Everything is tight. Part matches this part here. So, you know, I don't know what the original part looks like, but if you didn't know what the original part looked like, that would probably pass for an original part. This is pecan because that's what I had laying there and I picked it up. So that's what we made it out of. So this is great. So before I fix these holes right here, this crazy mess, I think I'm gonna investigate what's going on in here. I think on this one, this is the only thing that's broken on this side is this. I'll look at these, make sure that this is tight. And I mean, it looks good, but I'll have to look at it. But anyway, we're gonna address this situation. There's no screw in here, so I gotta come up with a screw for that. So looking good, coming along just fine. Well, both of these are pretty much stripped out, so I'm gonna have to dowel one and then screw this back in, mark it, take it off, dowel the other one just to make sure it goes back exactly where it was. Because if it's up, down, or sideways or something, that latch isn't going to grab this exactly, and it needs to grab it. Or I could just shove it together, and wherever it lands, I can put it there. Both ways would work. So that's a mess in there. So it's not even flat. I'm going to have to probably have to fix all that. So let me go ahead and work on this part. So there we go. New thread holes. You won't be able to see most of this anyway, but just in case, I'm just going to be underneath the table and closed, but might as well do it while we're sitting here. So that'll be fine. Okay, I've clamped the table up. A couple reasons. I've got to make sure that I can get the original holes to line up to put my dowels, because this is all stripped out on this side. I'm gonna have to do that side also. And I want to make sure that this bracket is in the exactly right spot. So when this latch opens and closes down there, that I can make sure it's lined up properly, and it'll unlatch and latch like it's supposed to. It won't be too far apart from, you know, from the latching mechanism from the outside. So that's what we're gonna do now. We're gonna mark this, take it back apart, put this on, make sure it latches. Once it latches, we'll start messing around with these. Okay, for time constraints, I didn't video some of this stuff. It was just a repeat of what we've already done. I've drilled out and doweled these ripped out holes. I still have to mark them and drill them. I put the window latches in to keep this thing super tight when it's closed, so it won't open back up again, which is super important. This is lined up, the latch down there. It works, it's lined up. It latches when you take it down, it unlatches. When you put it back, it latches up. So that's functioning again. So now what I have to do is the dowels that are under here, mark them, pull this apart, drill them, then do the same with that side, and then we should be good to go. This table should be functioning. Then we'll flip it and we'll do the veneer repair on the other side, and I think that's it for this table. So hopefully, what's tomorrow, Thursday, this will be done. So hopefully tomorrow, Thursday, and then Friday we can deliver it. I discovered that this has been put on upside down. So this flips the other way. This comes apart and flips the other way. You notice on this side, the screws are countersunk inside the rails. And I've already fixed the dowels on that one. And I was coming to this side, and I noticed that this is wrong. This is upside down. So apparently when this thing had come apart, at one time, whenever it fell apart, I guess someone just slid it back together and didn't realize they had assembled it upside down. So I'm hoping that these dovetails will just slide out, and there should be a stop on them. But we'll see. Hopefully it'll slide out completely, and I can take this off, flip it. That's the way it's supposed to go. Okay, so this whole thing is backwards. So I've got to take this off. This is the way originally it goes on there. So this back part of the dovetail, I got to take this off, slide this, take all this off to put this back on properly. So that's what we're going to do now. Okay, now, see how that's together? Hopefully, I get it to work. There we go. Okay, okay, now, that is right. Okay, hold it upside down. I know. That is. There we go. Everything like that is the way it's supposed to go. Look at that, it's off the table. Okay. Okay. All right, so there we go. These are supposed to be up. They're countersunk in here, and they go in here. All these have to be reed out because all these are stripped out. So I'll fix two, mark it, drill them, then fix this one, take it apart again so they'll line up right. Now the table will open and close like it's supposed to. Okay, done. I've got all the holes drilled. Everything's done. Everything's doweled, re-threaded. The only thing now is to put the table together and flip it over and start the top. I believe everything underneath here is finished. It's complete. It's going to be super solid. I finally have it upright, and now I can see the issue with the veneer on the top better. And I just got off the phone with the customer, and they just want this part fixed and this part fixed. That's all they want. So those are the two areas I have to address. All this stuff around the side, she said it's fine, just leave that alone. And I also have to fix where a dog chewed it up, so I have to fix this part. I think we're going to go ahead and start with this one first, with this repair. I'm going to do this in two sections. I'm going to take this and replace this whole piece. Seeing how it's so far broken down, I'm going to cut this out, replace this piece, and then fix this little piece of veneer later, because this doesn't have to go all the way down to that next level. I'm looking at my ruler up here to know where to put my laser blade so I don't cut too deep. I mean too far into the table. You know, so they're the same depth on both sides. So I will remove this piece. I'm going to cut my line. Let me make sure I got that exactly right, to the same measurement on both sides. Let's see. That's right. 3 1/4 1/4. Yep. So now I'm going to have to just connect my lines and score my line, and I'll take this out. I'm holding my razor blade at an angle, so see how it's beveled. So when I cut, the bevel is up and straight up and down, so I won't have a beveled edge and have a gap in my repair. I'm just doing light passes until I get my razor blade all the way through the veneer, and I can take. This is going to be a big piece I'm going to take out too. So there we go. All right, I'm confident with that. So I'm going to go ahead and start moving this piece. See, I got it to right to where my razor line goes. I'm going to get my Dremel, my router, and I'm going to route this section out, and then I'll square it up and clean it up with a chisel I get most of the material out with a router, I think, and then I'll come in and do the repair with this, or the cleanup with this. It's hard to do that. Hold it so the camera can see it and be safe at the same time. That's not the preferred technique that I would use, but anyway, now I'm gonna clean the rest of this up with a chisel. What I should have done it is to cut this off the patch, and I didn't do that. I cut the hole first. So what I'll do is I'll make the patch a little bit bigger, and then it'll be straight with this edge, and then I'll come up just a little bit past this, and I'll mark it, and I'll cut this down again, so the patch will fit perfectly snug exactly in this spot. So that was a ding dong, and you cut your patch first and you go off your patch and then you cut your hole. But I did it backwards this time and made it harder on myself. I don't know what I was thinking, but we'll do that. The next one we do. Okay, I think I'm going to use this part of the wood to fill it in. There's grain here. There's grain and grain. So hopefully we can match those up well enough. When that goes in there, it'll work. A little bit tiny big. I'm going to try to actually fit it in there. If I can't get it to fit, I'll just do it again. So that's why I'm going to cut it. I just cut this on the bandsaw, and I forgot to turn the camera on, so I just cut that little piece out. That's all I did. Okay, there's my little grain section. And hopefully, or is it this side? I think it's that side. It's just a tiny bit too big, like I planned, and I can trim this veneer just a little bit. I'm talking just like the slightest, tiniest bit to squeeze this in there. If all else fails, go to the sanding block. There's a piece of sandpaper on glass. And keep doing it until it fits. I came back, took a little bit of this off, and it goes in nice and tight and nice and snug. It kind of boogered up the corner there, but I'll fix that. I'm gonna go ahead and cut this part. I marked it A and B so I know which side is which. I'm going to attempt to do it on this saw. This might not be possible, but I'm gonna go ahead and try and see what happens here. Okay, that will probably be fine just like that. I've got my extra fan on, that's why it's kind of noisy, but that's all right. We'll be all right with that. Let's see. Here we go. Right. That's good. We'll let this dry and I'll show you how to clean that up and make it look pretty. You see this little bitty spot right there? I'm going to fill that in with this Timbermate mahogany. And if this stuff starts to go dry on you, it sometimes will. All you have to do is just put a little bit of water in it and stir it up, and it reactivates it. So I'm just going to fill this in with this Timbermate, and then when I file this and sand this down or plane that down, we'll take care of this stuff also. So there we go. So that'll take care of that problem. And then I'm going to go ahead and fix this spot real quick, because I want to make these two surfaces flush at the same time. I don't want to do one and then go back and have to do another one. So I might as well fix this while I'm at it. I'm going to do both of them. Because this piece is on such a slant and I can't secure it down, I just drew me a pencil mark, and it's just a triangle, so it's going to fit. So I'm going to razor that exactly on that line. I don't like to do it this way, but I can't hold that piece still. Normally what I do is I super glue it down, but I can't do it this time. My hand's going to be in the way. I'm just going to cut this exactly on that line. Now this will follow my patch, because it was taken off from the patch. There you go. Why it is. Okay, that fits really nice. Okay, so I'm going to clean the rest of this stuff out of here and then glue this in. I had to make the part again because I messed it up, so I've got this one to fit in there perfectly. It's a little sticking powder to the surface, but I'm going to leave it alone, and I'm just going to hand plane that down and not jack with it. So I'm tired of messing with it, so I'm going to go ahead and glue this in. I don't trust this. Wow, okay. We'll have to clean up glue right now. Whoa, I spilt it. That's okay. Let me clean this up, and then we'll clamp it. And then what I always do, if I do like a little repair like this, I always tap the front with something. If I can find something thin enough here, we'll use this in a this will push it up against the surface, so the mating surfaces are really tight. It's an old Stanley 12 degree plane. It's perfect for this kind of stuff. This is how we're going to flush up the new part with the existing table. Okay, let's go ahead and make some veneer to repair this part. We're going to do that now. I'll show you how to make veneer. It's got to be pretty thick, so I got to really watch it, because veneer is just like that thin. But I might as well just replace all the way down to this layer here instead of just that, because all this has got to be replaced anyway. So I might as well just get rid of all this underneath here, cut all this out, and replace this thickness. And that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to do that. Now this is going to be our veneer part, so we're going to flip it up and we're going to cut. That's why I put the zero clearance insert in. We're going to cut a thin strip. All right, we're going to make this a little bit thinner. Maybe like that. And let's go ahead and cut a strip. These are the 3 strips we just did. These were the first 2 I cut. You see how thick they are, and this was a leftover piece. It looks like the leftover piece is a little bit thinner, which I'm going to use this right now, and we'll make this the thickness that we need it. And I made sure that was long enough to cover this entire area with one go. So we'll have to figure out how to do the matching grain. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to thin this out to go into this spot. This is how we're going to make our veneer. This is a Supermax 1632 drum sander. If you're not familiar with it, it's got a drum in here, and this spins and this belt drives your piece through, and you can make super thin pieces with this. It's really good. What's cool about this is you've got this adjustment lever where you can adjust things up and down. So for example, when we do this piece, I'm going to put the drum on that piece, make the drum hit it, then I'll go up 2 turns, and then now this will feed through the other side, and I can hit my turn my belt to my center on. I'm going to show you how I'm going to do this. Okay, let's check for thickness. Okay, this is probably exactly perfect. I'm even kind of nervous. It might not be thick enough. No, I think we're fine. So we're gonna go ahead and cut this to the right size and the shape, and make sure the edges are perfectly flat and cleaned. The ones that are going to mate up to the veneer. I'm gonna cut all this stuff down, and that's like, wow, did I go too much? No, I didn't go too much because that's squished up some. Okay, we're going to go ahead and show you how I'm going to clean this up. Okay, let's go ahead and lay this out. It's easier to camouflage something that goes at an angle on top of the table. So we know how thick it is, we can see it. So we're just going to kind of line this piece up with the thickest part, just kind of angle the whole piece down to the thinnest part. And probably about there is good. I'm watching here to make sure that I cut off the bad spots. About like that. Let me see. So this starts to angle about right here. Okay, so all I did is just mark where this little piece goes. And I'm going to angle my piece just a little because it's thinner over here. And I'm going to, is that right? Okay, it looks like I can get rid of all the bad spots right there. So I'm just going to clamp this little guy down. My little clamps. And I'm going to draw one here about an angle like probably this. And then up here, do it. And it's hard for you to see. Something like this. There. That should cover it. All right, let's clean this up. So this is the piece of veneer that I'm fixing to put on, and I'll check it when I'm doing it. I'll check it, against the plane or something. Between the plane and the sandpaper, I got this really straight, and I'll get a straight edge and I'll check it next to the straight edge, so I know that it's flat. I'll check the whole thing, so I know that when I put this in, that this edge is true and flat and straight, so I won't have a big giant gap in a seam when I insert my when I put my veneer on. A good way to stick veneer down is with this thick carpet tape. Well, thick, this double, like super sticky tape. This really isn't veneer, but I keep calling it veneer. But I'm going to replace all the broken stuff. So all I do in this situation is I'll cut some of this super crazy strong tape, and this piece goes down on the table like that. So I will tape this down to the workpiece I'm going to show you how I'm going to do that. I'll just put little strips down every now and again. Now we can run our blade down this and cut this shape out of this piece of wood, remove it, and insert this. That's how we do it. Added a few more clamps just so it won't move, and I've got to very carefully make this line exactly on this patch. I'm going to keep doing this for about 45 minutes. Some of these walls are they're at an angle, so I'm just going to use my shoulder plane, and I'm going to square the wall up with the shoulder plane. We're just coming in and cleaning up the edge, make sure everything's flat in here, and there's a nice crisp straight edge on here. We got to come and we have to get glue underneath here, and we'll do that in a minute. And we're just going to clean this up first. So this has got to be a good, nice, clean surface for gluing, and that's what we're fixing to do. We got to put glue underneath here because that's going to come up again. So we're going to do that. Looks like we're fine. So all I'm doing is sanding this down super lightly with 220, and you can see the seam is pretty seamless. We got a really good job getting that in there. So I'm super happy with that. This goes into a boutique that they're just opening. They're going to put t-shirts on this, and it needs to be clean so the t-shirts don't, you know, pick up the dirt that's been on this table probably for who knows how long. So we'll go ahead and clean this up. We have the foot down here we have to fix. That's the last thing we've got to do, and then that's it. So they're happy with what they have so far, and super excited to fix that one little thing and get this delivered. This is really, really awesome. Okay, I'm fixing this this one area that was chewed up by a dog, and I forgot to turn the camera on when I started it. So basically I just got this this epoxy stuff. It's a two-part thing. It's got a center core. You cut it, you squish it up, and you put it on what you're putting it on. You let it dry, and then you shape it to what you want to shape it as. So before it gets hard, I'm just coming through with a razor blade, and just kind of, before it gets like way too hard, I'm just kind of really just kind of scraping the high spots off, because I put way too much on there, because there was a little bit extra in the pack. I might as well just use it. So I'm just coming through and scraping some of the highlights off. You can see on this other leg how this is in here. It was chewed off a little bit on this back side on the one I'm repairing, but a lot of this area was chewed up, and it was chewed down not very far, but it was bad over here. So I'm just going to wait for a little while, and then I'll come in and sand it down. Okay, that pretty much almost completes the repair. It's still a little off color. I'm gonna fix that in a second. But that's not bad right now. So we're getting super close. Got the wood grain simulated. If it'll focus. Come on, focus, see? Looks like wood. So it follows up, but it's gotta match the color. We just finished the table and we put it in the store at the Ginger Snaps Boutique and it looks really good. Foot that we fixed that was chewed up. The handle that we made from pecan, and I put the indications of locking and unlocking on there so they'll know which way it is. Veneer fix all the way down the middle. Now it's a display table. Project complete.